A forgotten cemetery has surfaced in central Texas, not uncovered by construction, not unearthed by an earthquake, exposed by a lake that simply vanished. As of this year, the cracked mud bed of the Richland Chambers Reservoir lies open to the sky, a sprawling basin of dried clay and splintered stumps. And from that mud, something impossible has emerged. The lost graves of more than 24 people, their identities erased by a century of water. They were not supposed to be there. But the drought that has seized Texas does not care about what was supposed to be. It only cares about what is. And what is a history that was deliberately drowned, now demanding to be seen. To understand what is happening across Texas, you must first understand its lakes. The vast majority are not natural. They are monuments of 20th century engineering, massive reservoirs created between the 1930s and 1980s. To build them, the government flooded entire valleys. They bought out landowners, condemned properties, and submerged whole towns, farms, industries, and as we now know, cemeteries. For decades, this drowned history lay sleeping under billions of gallons of water used for recreation and municipal supply. Now, in the face of a historic multi-year drought, the water is retreating, and the secrets it kept are rising from the depths. It isn't just one lake. It is a pattern. The phenomenon is most starkly captured at Lake Buchanan. During the severe Texas drought of 2011, the water level dropped so low that it gave back a ghost. The entire 19th century town of Old Bluffton, intentionally drowned in 1937 to create the lake, re-emerged. Visitors could walk on dry land among the stone foundations of a hotel, a general store, the skeletal remains of a cotton gin. But among the ruins, one object told the most human story. A small, cracked marble tombstone, pushed crooked by the mud. It belonged to an infant, Johnny C. Parks, born October 17, 1882, just 2 days shy of his first birthday. For more than 70 years, his grave lay submerged under 20 to 30 feet of recreational water, a forgotten tragedy at the bottom of a man-made lake. In 2011, the sun gave him back to the world. It's a strange thing to think about a child's grave being used as a depth gauge for a lake. I'm curious what you think about this, knowing what lies at the bottom. The story of Old Bluffton serves as a key, unlocking the statewide phenomenon. These lakes are not just bodies of water, they are time capsules, sealed by government mandate and now being broken open by the climate. The pattern repeated itself more than a decade later, and 100 miles to the south, in September of 2023, Canyon Lake, a massive reservoir on the Guadalupe River, hit a historic low. On August 27th, the water level dropped to 890.91 feet above mean sea level, breaking a record that had stood for years. As the water pulled back from the limestone cliffs, the bones of 2 more flooded towns began to appear. Foundations from Hancock and Cranesmill, rural Texas communities swallowed between 1964 and 1968 to form the lake, were suddenly high and dry. Concrete slabs, rusted rebar, the faint outlines of roads. A geography that had been wiped off the map for over half a century was suddenly, eerily, walkable again. Boaters used to cruising over these spots could now moor their pontoon boats and step out onto the ruins of a lost world. But here is the detail that tells the real story. The receding water at Canyon Lake revealed more than just the ghost towns. For 40 years, locals had whispered rumors of hidden caves submerged somewhere in the lake's depths. Pamela Huff Gilbert, a resident of the area, had heard the stories for decades. On September 23, 2023, with the lake lower than ever seen in her lifetime, she went looking in a rocky cliffside in an area known to boaters as Party Cove. She found it. A dark, gaping maw in the rock. A cave entrance that had been underwater since the 1960s. Her photographs confirmed the legend was true. J.M. Perez, an employee at the local marina, went further. He explored the inside, he reported. It went back roughly 30 feet, and the interior was not smooth rock carved by water. It was filled with ancient stalagmites. This is the part the local news barely touched on. Stalagmites do not form underwater. They are created over thousands, even tens of thousands of years, by the slow, patient drip of mineral-rich water in a dry, or at least air-filled, cavern. The presence of stalagmites inside the Canyon Lake Cave is absolute proof that the cavern is an ancient geological feature. It existed for millennia before the Guadalupe River Valley was ever a valley. It watched ice ages come and go. And then, in 1968, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers flooded it, hiding this natural wonder